All right, welcome back, Florida Football Insiders Podcast. Now we are going up to Tallahassee to talk about the Florida State Seminoles. Seminoles coming off a poor year last year, a treacherous 2-10 run following the 13-0 season in 2023. No better person to talk about all things Florida State than the director of broadcasting, the guy you will hear on the microphone every Saturday, maybe some Thursday, maybe a Friday throughout the college football season. Mr. Jeff Culhane entering his fourth year at the helm in Tallahassee. Welcome in, Mr. Jeff.
Good talking to you, Jason. Good to see you, my friend. Man, 4 years, time flies, and was just out of practice today, actually, with the great Gene Deckerhoff watching the Knowles and guys putting in work, Mike Norvell and company coaching their tails off and getting after it after a tough 2024. So it's been a fun start to fall camp, and man, I think we're all ready for this thing to kick off right now. So let's get it rocking and rolling.
We are ready. I saw Gene last week at the Buccaneers had their joint practice with the Titans. I
Yeah.
was at practice and I know he was there. I actually saw Gene at practice. I'm glad Gene's still out and about in Tallahassee
Oh,
visiting
yeah.
practice. That's great to see. I know he's such a they love him so much up there. They love you too. Hard to believe it's already been 4 years. I remember we chatted the first time in year one. Hard to believe you've already talk about your transition. How much have you enjoyed moving to the South and living in the South now a couple of years in Tallahassee?
Well, I don't know if it makes me a bad person or not, but we have yet to return to the North. So I don't know if we'll ever go back, but but part of that is obviously family and friends love to come down to Florida and see us. And at some point, when my two boys, they're ages 6 and 3 right now, when they get a little bigger and can understand things a little bit better, we will go back to the North during the winter time, and they will be forced to shovel Nana and Papa's driveway in December. So we're not there yet. I'm biding my time to where they can handle it, and I'm gonna throw them out there and make them feel. But no, we love it. We love Florida State. Man, love the people. Seminole fans have just been so unbelievable to me and my family, and I know Jason, you know all about that. I mean,
Yep.
never surprised, continually impressed by everybody in the garnet and gold. And I think we're all kind of thinking the same thing right now. What are we going to find out? What are we going to see? We're all going to find out together here very soon.
I want to talk about the mentality of the program. Obviously, 2 years ago, you came off 13-0, didn't make the playoff, and you had that chip on your shoulder kind of going into 2024. 2024 didn't go great. For whatever, a variety of reasons. Everybody has their opinion of what those reasons are. Didn't It went to the complete opposite spectrum. 2-10, didn't play well as a unit, as a team. Bunch of coaching changes this offseason. Have you noticed the mentality or changes in procedural or systems or processes that maybe the football program has gone through this offseason?
I don't think there's anything that really stands out when you watch practice, but you can feel the extra energy from the new coaching staff. And when you have so many newcomers, 49 newcomers, and you have new coordinators, and you have some new assistant coaches as well, and some veteran guys like a Herb Hand who's been there, done that, at the highest level at many, many, many elite programs. How could you not have a different feel to it? And so I would say that's the biggest thing, Jason, that I've noticed is that, man, there's a lot of coaching going on. There's a lot of communication. There's a lot of teaching going on. And everybody that is new to Florida State, they're really looking to embrace the opportunity. And nobody more so than quarterback Tommy Castellanos.
Yeah.
And I know Tommy, was in the news in June for what he said, but look, he is embracing his role as the quarterback at Florida State. He's got one shot. He's got 1 year to do it. And what an opportunity for him. And, I think that while what he said was probably not what, the coaches or the fans would have liked to have heard word for word, listening to Tommy talk about it at ACC kickoff last month, he put it in the context of, look, we need to get back to being Florida State. And I'm just trying
Swagger.
to give
Some
my guys some
swagger.
juice,
Yeah.
right? And so, we could have been playing anybody. I would have said probably the same things, and that's me taking it out of that's not what he
Yeah.
said, but that's kind of the vibe I got. And I think the other great thing about it was the veterans that have been in this team, the Daryl Jacksons and others, had his back immediately after it came out and said, "Look, hey, don't worry about it. We got you. We get it. We're in a weird way." There's a little bit of a culture change and shift needed coming off such a tough year, even though the head coach is the same, even though the messaging is really the same in a lot of respects. It is unique to the fact that, hey, what happened a year ago isn't good enough, and we need to get some guys in here that are going to make some plays and reestablish that confidence, and we need some alphas. Jameis Winston was an alpha. He let people know what was going to happen, and he exuded confidence. Not everybody leads and has that kind of mentality where you're outspoken or brash, but at a place like Florida State, we've been used to that through the years, and I don't think there's anything wrong with having that kind of confidence, especially at the quarterback position. So he's really embraced his role, and I know the coaching staff, Gus Malzahn, Mike Norvell, Tony Tokars, they're really throwing a lot at him in camp to get a feel for what they can have ready for him on game day.
And you mentioned Gus Malzahn comes over from UCF, a proven head coach, made a conscious decision to want to just be the play caller. He's got Mike Norvell who can kind of be the CEO of the program. He can focus on the things he's really good at, which is play calling. He's got a great history of having productive offenses, quarterbacks like Castellanos, little guys that can run around and throw the ball as well. How do you think that Gus Malzahn offense is going to really take shape there in Tallahassee?
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I think one of the huge storylines for this first game with Alabama, you've got two offensive coordinators that return to just calling plays in Gus Malzahn, and then also on the other side for Alabama, Ryan Grubb,
Right.
who goes as far back with Kalen DeBoer as being his offensive line coach at the University of Sioux Falls, in my own stomping
Right.
grounds, up in South Dakota back in 2007. He was his OC at Washington, did not come with him to Alabama and was with the Seattle Seahawks calling plays a year ago. Now he's in Tuscaloosa. And so I think that storyline of these two new OCs calling plays in this game is going to be fascinating to watch how they have instilled their systems and how they put their guys in the right spots to have success and succeed. But I think it's just fascinating to follow because you know, when you're a coach and you've been a head coach like Gus has for as long as he has, you get away from being a coach, especially now.
Yep.
And that's why he left. He didn't want to do that stuff anymore. He didn't want to, you are now a CEO more than you ever have been and almost more of a fundraiser
Right.
and roster management guy. You can't really get it much. You try to, you need to, but game planning, you have to rely on your coordinators, your assistants, probably more now than you ever have before as a head coach. So to have a guy like Gus being the guy that is the trigger man for your offense, I can't think of many better in college football. And I think that's a storyline that we need to continue to keep an eye on and see how that takes off through the year because man, you go back and look at some of those great Auburn offenses that he had, and obviously he won a national championship with Cam Newton in 2010, took Auburn to the title game against Florida State in 2013 and
Yep.
was seconds away from winning that one. And, you ask Bama fans what they think
Yeah.
of Gus, and they all of a sudden start to get a little tight when they think of Gus Malzahn because of how he was able to run the football in years past versus the great Crimson Tide defenses and Nick Saban. So, this is going to be a great matchup in game number one, and I'm excited to see just the details, the intricacies, and to be able to have a guy like Tommy, who Gus compares to one of his favorites, and Nick Marshall,
Yes.
to help carry him to the title game in 13. I think it's going to be a fascinating, format to follow with this Florida State offense.
Talk about on the other side of the ball, Tony White comes in from Nebraska, new DC. Again, fresh approach on both sides of the ball. Give us a sense of is he going to be a more of a blitzing kind of guy, his own defense, a little hybrid? Kind of what is Tony's MO?
Well, he's holding people accountable. And if you follow this, and I know all Florida State fans follow it closely, you're seeing the things he's saying. And he has got high levels of expectation, and he's seen some bad habits, and he doesn't like it. And he's let everybody know, look, I don't care what you've done before or how you did it before. A year ago wasn't good enough. And so we're going to do it the way I know how to do it because that's why I'm here. And you're seeing some of, I think, the results of that. And, I think that's the great thing, too, when you come off a season like 24. If you're a guy that hasn't played or you've been on the cusp of playing, this is a great chance for you to get on the radar, get on the two
Opportunity.
deep. The opportunity's
Opportunity.
there. And guys that think they are good and maybe aren't doing it like they've been taught to, they're not given anything. And so he's holding everybody accountable, which is fantastic. And so what's it going to look like? It's going to be different looking than what we've seen over the last, 4 or 5 years. It's going to have a lot of moving pieces, a 3-3-5 look where you're going to have a lot of three down linemen. We'll also, I think you'll see there'll be some four lineman looks with a guy standing up on the edge. But, thinking back to his defenses, Jason, I was lucky enough to be at the Nebraska-Colorado game last September when he completely shut down Shedeur Sanders and the
Right.
Colorado offense. I mean, they were in the backfield all night long. Travis Hunter had a good game statistically, but you wouldn't have known he was even playing. I mean, he caught 11 passes, but he didn't do anything to scare you. And so he is one of those guys that is going to be a head coach. I hope he's going to be here longer than shorter, but he's got head coaching material all over him. And so, what a great hire by Mike Norvell. And you're going to see this group do a little bit of everything. Yeah, they're going to attack. The biggest thing is they're going to try and confuse and keep opposing offenses on their heels with the way they line up pre-snap and how they move around and how they bring blitzes from different spots.
Give me a couple of first year Knowles, whether they're transfers or freshmen, that you really think the coaching staff thinks can play some significant snaps and be very productive at certain spots.
The offensive line is one that comes to mind right away, and you got four guys there that have all played a lot of football and have all played football at great programs and in big leagues at a high level. And Luke Pettibone at Wake Forest, an All ACC center, he's a baller. I mean, he's a football player that comes from great background. His
Yep.
grandfather Richie was the DC for the Redskins with Joe Gibbs for a
Yep.
dozen years. Micah Pettis from Ole Miss is a pro at right tackle. Gunnar Hansen from Vanderbilt has been on the offensive line that beat Alabama a year ago. Adrian Medley's a veteran guy from UCF that comes with Herb Hand and Gus to Florida State. So those four guys as transfers up front are going to play a lot, and they're continuing to mesh together. And I think they're going to provide a much better look than what we saw a year ago. And really, quite honestly, even in 23, Jason, we didn't run the football
Right.
great. We
Right.
were explosive with Trey Benson, but consistently we were not a great rushing football team on that 2023 squad. So that's that group is improved and much better. Deuce Robinson is 6'6", 220 and can run and high points the ball, and he's going to have a chance to have a big year. Squirrel White is a tremendous talent, speedster. Got to keep him healthy. We'll see if he can continue the health trend he's on, which is good. But when he's healthy, he's as good as everyone's seventh most receptions in Tennessee history during his time for the Vols. Man, I'm just on offense right now. Javen Boggs from Cocoa, has records, Florida high school receiving records, even on top of Jeremiah Smith, right?
Mhm.
Randy Pittman from UCF at tight end out of Panama City Beach. I haven't mentioned Usman Chroma yet, who's had a great fall camp, the true freshman back that we flipped from Georgia. And then on the defensive side, first year guys, James Williams off the edge from Nebraska, Deontay McCray, Jason Jenkins, Elijah Herring at linebacker, Jerry Wilson, the cornerback who we've heard a lot about from Syracuse and Houston. He's gonna have a chance to start at corner and be a lockdown guy for us overall. And then you got two new specialists who have done a tremendous job in replacing great guys. Jake Weinberg, a huge leg for a young kicker, and Max Cimento is sort of your non-trad guy in college sports now. He's stuck around and hung around for a few years, and now it's his shot at the punter position after being behind Mastro for 3, 4 seasons. So 49 newcomers, Jason. There's a lot of guys, a lot of answers in there, and I probably missed a few, but there's a lot of opportunity out there.
You got a lot of new names and new locations to new
Oh,
weights and heights to remember
yeah,
there, boss man.
yeah, yeah. That's the new normal right now in college sports. We just kind of, we go with the flow and get to know everybody. It's kind of like the first day of school all over again every season.
While we're talking about the broadcast team, everybody back from the broadcast team, bar
Oh
none
yeah.
coming back, bar none
Oh
back in the
yeah,
booth.
oh yeah. My guy William Barnum Floyd, he's the best. Inducted into the Florida Sports
Yeah,
Hall of Fame last October. So well deserved. I believe. I want to say Tracy McGrady was in his
yeah,
induction class, I think, last year. And so, yeah, just a special friend, love his family, his
good
wife
guy.
Benita, their kids. Jaden started here at Florida State, wrapped up his college football career at Carson Newman.
Yep.
His daughter Ty is breaking barriers herself. She has become the first female play-by-play voice in the history of HBCUs at Alabama A&M this fall. And
Awesome.
so she's following in Barnum's footsteps, and can't say enough about how proud I am of Ty Ali Floyd for what she is doing as a broadcaster right now. Then my guy Tom Block, he's been a part of Florida State football and athletics for 3 decades. Will
Yep.
be with us in the pregame, sidelines, and postgame. He's awesome. And then we got great people behind the scenes. Chris Culp, our engineer, who now is in his 12th season, and the legend we call him, Andy Surratt. It's year 42
Woo.
on the broadcast for Surratt as our spotter and statistician. So we're getting the band back together again. We like to call ourselves the bad boys of college football radio. So we have a lot of fun while we're on the road.
All right, listen to Jeff Culhane, voice of the Florida State Seminoles. We preview the Seminoles 2025, week one at home in Tallahassee against the Alabama Crimson Tide, Labor Day weekend. Give us a quick update on the renovations to Doak Campbell. A lot of stuff going on there. Give us a quick
Man,
update.
beautiful. I know it was a hot button topic, right? But I've got a feeling after everybody sees what this looks like, that where places have not been renovated yet, those people on those parts of the stadium are going to go, when are we going to do that over here? I mean, it is Michael Alford, Stephen Ponder, Peter Collins, Dr. Richard McCullough, all of our generous Seminole boosters have been just absolutely amazing with all of this. And you are going to notice the difference. I'm sure everyone's seen pictures and videos of sorts. We're getting close. We're almost done. It is elite. It's elite. And we've had, in talking with Michael Alford, he said this publicly, we've had, other NFL organizations, other schools, programs, pro sports teams that have come to Doak to look at it, to see how we have done it and how it's being done the right way. And so it's going to be it's going to be awesome for Alabama. What a showcase at 3:30 Eastern time, the first Saturday of a full college football slate with
Sure.
Florida State and Alabama getting together in a newly renovated Doak Campbell Stadium. Man, it's going to be Goosebump City for sure.
It will be, yeah, it'll be an awesome crowd, hot day. I'm sure the electricity will be through the air. Looking at the schedule, again, do you have to beat Alabama? No, obviously you want to beat Alabama, but if you look at the rest of the schedule, it's fairly manageable. You got Miami at home. You're at home against Pitt, Virginia Tech. You do have to go to Clemson later, but if they do what they're supposed to do early, that game becomes obviously humongous later in the year, and you got to go to Florida at the end. To me, if you can get through this first month at worst 3-1. Let's say you don't beat Alabama, but if you do, you're 4-0 potentially. You got to win the games you're supposed to win at home. Isn't that a theme there?
Yeah, you hit it. I break it down. 5 of our first 6 are at home. If you gotta find a way to win one of the two with Bama and Miami at
Right.
home, and both are so very challenging. Will not, it goes without
Correct.
saying. But you have to win the games you're favored in. You have to go to Charlottesville and win. Pitt will not be easy. I'm telling
No.
you, the Pitt game is going to be a bear because the way they are lined up and the way Pat Narduzzi has
Yes.
put that roster together, it's how he likes his teams, and so the Pitt game will be a challenge. But you should, Stanford, Wake Forest. Who knows how Virginia Tech will look by mid-November. NC State on the road, I know, has been a house of horrors for us, but you got to get over that hump at some point in time. But if you can start correctly and win one of the games versus Bama or Miami, I honestly would prefer Miami with it being an
Conference
ACC
game.
team, right?
Yeah,
I certainly would take Bama, but you could potentially be 7-1 going to Clemson November the 8th, and that would be a top 10 matchup,
for
most
sure.
likely.
For
And
sure.
so, and if you lose that one and you take care of business, you're still going to get to Charlotte
Right.
and have a chance in a one-off to get yourself into the college football playoff. And so that's really how I break it down. I think you hit on it perfectly, Jason. But it will not be easy. Bama, Miami, Clemson, and Florida, all are elite rosters, especially along the lines of scrimmage, and
Yep.
that's where you'll get challenged the most.
Again, looking at the Alabama game again, I know new coordinators, a lot of change, new players, everything. They don't have to beat Alabama, but you can't lose 38-14 at home. That's to me, to instill confidence in the community, in the roster, you at least got to be you got to be very competitive in that game for me, Labor Day weekend.
I think you hit on the head. I think that's all everybody's feeling, right? I think obviously we want to win the game. We expect to win every game as Florida State fans. But with Alabama, there's always the challenge. Um, I think the start to that game is going to be very, very important. I mean, early on in the first quarter, you're going to have to play obviously a full 60, but can you get the crowd into it? Can you get to Ty Simpson in his first career start?
Right.
And he's a great player. I mean, I know he hasn't played a lot, but he's a five-star. He's a coach's kid. His dad's the head coach at UT Martin, so
Right.
he gets it, right? And with Ryan Grubb, like that's a huge asset for Kalen DeBoer in Alabama. And they've got great talent everywhere. They're still Bama. Their receivers, their lines of scrimmage, their secondary, they are loaded again. So, but in the first quarter, can you get ahead? Can you get Tommy confident? Can he make some plays with his legs? Can you force a turnover? Who knows? You get that crowd into it and the
Yep.
war chants rolling, and you get in the second half. Look out. That's all I'm saying. And I don't think we have to play perfect to win against Alabama. A lot of
Yep.
people would roll their eyes in the SEC at me on that. I think this staff has done a good enough job in roster management and retention to be able to play. You got to play very well. I don't think you have to play perfect. You're going to have to play a tremendous game, but stay away from the things that are negative, the quick changes, the turnovers, all of those things. And if you cause a couple yourself, look out. It could be a rocking Saturday over 3 hours plus inside of Doak Campbell Stadium.
All right, last two questions for you. Last year, obviously from an outside view, I wasn't there. I watched a bunch of games on TV. It seemed like the spirit of the team was not where it needed to be. The chemistry, the I like you, Jeff, and you like me, and I'm gonna bust my hump for you, and just those kind of things. Playing for the name on the front, not the name on the back. Have you noticed a discernible change in that mentality?
Feels that way at practice, but I don't think we'll really know the answer until we hit some adversity during the year. Shoot, right? A year ago at this time, we all thought this was a team that was going to win the league,
Right,
and go to Charlotte. Even Nick Saban in Dublin said Florida State's got top five talent.
right.
So that's why last year was so just befuddling across the board. It feels that way, Jason. It feels like, especially with a guy like Tommy Castellanos, who has really done everything he can do to get ingrained with his teammates and lead and get everyone on the same page. And you're going to have people, that are not going to get on board with some of the changes. And we're seeing actually some of that happen,
Yep,
during camp right now, and
yep.
you're seeing the results of that. And so I would like to say the answer is yes. I feel like it is. But we truly will not know until this team hits adversity, and we'll
Correct.
hit some adversity right away in game number one of the year for sure.
All right, last one. Give me a quick thought on you got a new basketball coach, Leonard
Oh,
Hamilton, a tremendous run at Florida State.
yep.
They bring back Luke Laux, who was a former player. Just talk about how Luke has been embraced, and do we think the direction of the Florida State basketball program back north?
Yeah, he's the perfect. I've said it many times. He's the perfect fit for what Florida State needs in college basketball in this era because he understands Florida State. He's a Florida State fan. He's from Clearwater.
Yep.
Played here, obviously. Played for Leonard. Won an ACC tournament. All ACC tournament team. Has played in the Big Dance, right? And but has also been in the NBA now. That's where his coaching experience is, and he's played overseas. He gets the roster turnover and management and retention and understands, egos, who's making more money, who's getting what. Um, and one of his big things is, I know what it takes to win in the NBA. You want to get to the NBA? I know how to get you there. He's won multiple world titles with the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry and that crew. And so he gets it. And, he has been so active in connecting with all of our fans, our alumni, our boosters, our donors. It's really been just very refreshing to have that. And not that Leonard didn't do it, but by the end of his time, obviously, when you're Leonard Hamilton, you don't really have to do it, quite honestly, as much as Luke does as a first year coach.
Sure.
So he's been great. I was at a practice a few weeks back, and it was July, and these guys are just, I mean, they are going at each other like they're getting ready for the ACC tournament. I mean, I couldn't believe it, how hard they practiced for an hour and 5 minutes. They just didn't stop. It was impressive. So I think this group is going to beat teams in the ACC based upon their effort. They're going to outwork teams and play harder than teams. Are they the most talented team in the league? No, but man, I tell you what, they play hard. The offensive system is NBA like. You're going to see a lot of shots. You're going to see high tempo. You're going to see a lot of threes, and we got some 3-point shooters: Robert McRae, Leger Jones, Martin Somerville, Chauncey Wiggins. We're going to get to know all these guys, I think, together. Only 2 returners off of last year's team that saw any time, but this is a group that likes each other as well, and they understand what the mission is here in year 1 of the Luke Locks era.
Well, Jeff, great job, man. Look forward to the broadcast. You can find Florida State football anywhere in this, all throughout the state of Florida, in your local radio, Sirius XM. You'll hear Jeff all over the place this football season. You and Bar None have a great call. Week 1, Alabama comes a calling to newly renovated Doak Campbell Stadium. We're looking forward to a great year up in Tallahassee. To me, could be one of those undervalued teams in the country because everybody thinks they're in the dumps. And I think with the schedule and with who they have leading them, I think this could be one of the teams that comes out of nowhere, like an SMU last year, that
Sure.
maybe came out of nowhere to make a serious run here in the ACC. All the best. Appreciate the time. Don't sit in that school line dropping off the kiddos too long in the morning and the afternoon.
Yeah,
Thanks for the
baby.
time, Jeff.
Yep. Jason, always good to see you, my friend, and can't wait to kick this thing off August 30th. And as always, go Noles.